Hey, welcome back to Jamieson's Repair Shop. Sitting in the passenger side of the 65 Thunderbird hardtop. You're wondering what I'm sitting here for? Well, what we're going to do now in this video is adjust the rear band on the transmission on the Cruise-O-Matic. It's slipping a tiny bit when you put it in reverse to go up a hill. It's fine on the flat, but as soon as you go up a hill, it slips a little bit. I'm hoping that adjusting the rear band will do it. If not, probably the same issue that Nick said about these old transmissions, that they sit around, the seals dry out. So I'm hoping this will fix the problem. If not, well, I guess the transmission will have to come back out and new seals put in. I don't want to ruin the transmission because I know it's a good one. But if it's slipping, you'll burn it up pretty quick. So let's get into this. For those who have never adjusted their rear band on one of these Cruise-O-Matics in a Thunderbird, you do it from inside the car on the passenger side. Now, a smart man would have adjusted that band when the transmission was out on the ground. But you're not dealing with a smart man here. So, a little embarrassing to say, I didn't even bother to adjust the band when I could have easily accessed it. But hey, if I had, you wouldn't get to know how to do it from inside the car. So let's get set up and I'll show you what needs to be done here. So here's the rear band adjustment specs. We'll get my finger out of the way so you can read it there. I can't, the camera is blurring in and out. So you're working from the right side under the instrument panel. Get in till you get that plastic plug out. And then you go up here, you clean the threads, use a 3/4 socket, says right there, I should have known that. And then there's the T-handle extension and all that stuff that Ford used. Insert the assembly tool into the access hole, and engage the adjusting screw and the lock nut. Loosen the adjusting screw lock nut. Torque the adjusting screw to specification, which is 10 foot-pounds or 120 inch-pounds. Remove the torque wrench from the T-handle extension, back off the adjuster screw exactly 1.5 turns. Severe damage may result to the transmission if the adjusting screw is not backed off exactly 1.5 turns. So that's an important one. It's in bold, so that means it's important. And then you hold the screw and you torque the lock nut back on, install the plastic plug, and fit the carpet back in place. And that's it. On the inside, on the passenger side, inside the car on the passenger side, what we have to do, we have to take this trim piece off here, and this section here that goes up under the dash, between the dash and the console, and it goes up. There's actually up under that carpet, there's another bracket where it bolts to the front. So we have to take all that off, and then we have to pull this carpet back. So let's get that done, and then we'll get into how we access that adjustment. So now I've got the trim taken off and I've got a piece of carpet pulled back. So what we're looking for here, and you guys have seen this if you had these cars apart, if you haven't, it'd be something new for you. There's a plug right here. That plug. So that plug, and it's right beside where the emergency cable goes down through the tunnel. I have to take that plug out, and that's the access to the reverse band adjustment on this car, on these Thunderbirds. So if you've never done this, this is what you're looking for. You need to get in this far. So let me get this plug out. I'll get a flat screwdriver and I'll lift it up out of there. It's going to be hard to video this stuff as I do it. I'm going to have to stop and explain what I'm doing and then move ahead because there's no room to work. Alright, so let me get the plug out. Alright, I've got the plug out. Let's take a peek down in and see where that bolt is. There it is right there. That's the rear band adjustment nut. So I got to break that retainer nut free, trying not to move the square shaft. So let's get that done and I'll explain what needs to be done after that. I was able to get it, the retainer nut broke free with a universal, and it's actually a 3/4 nut on there, not 5/8, it's 3/4. And so I was able to do it with that. You would do better with just a universal and the proper size. I didn't have or I have one somewhere, but I couldn't find my 3/8, 3/4 short. But if you go too short, it won't go over the stud. So then there's the adjuster screw that's in there. and I found that this 3/8 drive will go right over top of it, and you can thread it in. I don't know how well it's going to be for setting the torque on it, but I'll find out in a second. So what the adjustment procedure for these is, after loosening that retainer nut off, you turn the adjuster screw forward clockwise and tighten it down to 10 foot-pounds or 120 inch-pounds. So I'm going to use inch-pounds because I have a fairly accurate torque wrench at that. My foot-pound torque wrench isn't accurate below 25. I don't think it is, so I'm going to go with the inch-pound. Important part of this is that you back it off by 1.5 turns. Okay, so when I'm going to tell you when I tighten this in to get ready for torquing it, which I already have, I turn this probably 3 turns, at least 3 turns, maybe 3.5 turns to get it to where I could feel it tension on the band. So it tells me it's not adjusted properly. Hopefully that the liner isn't gone off the band. We'll know when we get her done. So anyway, I'm going to get geared up to go with my 120 inch-pounds and see if we can get that set, and then turn it back a turn and a half. So I'm going to have to mark the shaft of this tool. So let's see what we can do with it. Got it set. If you can see that or not, it was 120 inch-pounds. So I tightened it up. This was actually an 11mm socket. It goes on the end of that 3/8 drive nicely. And then the open end of the drive goes over that square adjustment screw. So I've got it up to 120 inch-pounds. So now I'm going to mark the shaft. And I have to keep track. So I'm going to turn it back a little bit. So I have to keep track of how many times. So it has to go back 1.5 turns. And that's the specs for this. So I'm going to not do it on camera because I want to control it with both hands. So I'll get back to you as soon as it's done. All adjusted. A little bit finicky because you can't, there's an actual tool for this that Ford made, and it was where the shaft went through the middle of the socket. I know there are some available, but I held it the best I could. It's going to be pretty damn close. And hopefully I didn't back it out too much. But it's finicky because you can't hold the end of the shaft and when you're snugging the nut. So I'm hoping it's okay. I'll go from there. It should be better than it was because it took a lot of turns to get in there. Alright, let me put the carpet and stuff back together and see how she goes. There, carpet's all back down in place. I'll have to give that a little glue because I had to peel it back down because that's only glued on that section. Maybe I should just put a screw in like Dick said, and then I can have it anytime I want. Good idea. Get my light out of here, and I'm going to go take it for a test drive, see how she is. There now, she's all done. Works excellent in reverse. Came up the hill, no problem. Spun the tires actually a little bit in reverse. So that's a successful adjustment on that rear band. So hopefully someone else gets a little bit from this. If you haven't never adjusted your rear band on the old Cruise-O-Matic, I suggest you might want to give it a try. Now you know how to do it. It's very straightforward, a little bit fiddly to get in there. You're going to take some carpet down and the panel off the side of the console, but the rest is relatively simple. Just remember, 1.5 turns out only. Not 2.5, not 3, not a half. 1.5 turns, and you'll be successful. All right, everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.